stuff is called well, you got Salesforce for everyone, but that's a Facebook group. You call it talent stack or everywhere else. Nobody uses Salesforce when they're talking about, I mean, you got SFDC 99, you have coding with the force.
You know why?
Focus on force.
Oh, because you get in trouble when you use the name Salesforce.
Yeah.
But there's this guy named Salesforce Ben. Now we're live, just so you know. But so I love what you're talking about, Patrick. And this is going to be the YouTube that we call. Let's see, what is this now? It's gonna see where it's. Oh boy, but it really picks up my little grogs. Worst thing about live is that it picks up everything. So yeah, Patrick, why don't you tell people what a lead is?
Well, in my mind, in Salesforce or anywhere, a lead is represented by a business card, or a lead is synonymous with a business card. I go to a trade show or I'm walking down the street and some random person hands me a business card and says, "Hey, call me." How do I know I want to call them? How do I know I want to have anything to do with them? Is that an account? Is that a contact? Is that an opportunity? I don't know yet. So business card, on a business card, what do you have? You have a name, you have an address, probably a phone number, an email address, website, and maybe you have some notes scribbled on the back of the business card. I'm going to a real estate investors meeting, and I talk to some people at the meetup, get some business cards, and I write a note on the back that maybe this person can give me a hard money loan at a great rate for a flip and fix deal that I want to do. I go back to my office and I'm entering that information into Salesforce. How do I enter it? Do I enter it as an account, a contact, and an opportunity? No, I enter it as a lead. Why would I want to enter it as a lead? Well, because I can use things like lead assignment rules. I can use lead duplicate rules to make sure that I don't already have this information in my Salesforce. I can have a BDR call this lead and find out if they're actually a real person. Does the phone number work? Does the email address work? Is the website real? And if those sorts of parameters are met, then maybe I want to convert this lead into an account, contact, and possibly an opportunity. I don't know that when I first get a lead. That's why we use them.
I tried to tell a customer about, they had 3 different lead types, record types, and they're all for the same process of taking a real estate agent in their firm, going back to someone interested in real estate, someone in school with real estate, someone who already has a real estate license. They thought of those as 3 different leads. And I'm like, they're all the same. If the destination of a lead is to become an agent in your firm, then every lead that comes through that is the same. They go, no, it's not the same. I'm like, it is the same. No, some have licenses, some don't. That's a matter of degree. That's a matter of where they're at as amount of data you have on them. A lead, one of the ways I tried to describe, so like they thought there were different types of lead. I'm like, no, every knock at the door is the same until you open the door, right? Every knock at the door is the same until you open the door. Once you open the door, then you find out, is it a friend? Is it a relative? Is it a stranger? Is it a delivery guy that's kind of friend, relative? You don't know what it is, right? So they're all the same because they're all unknown. And that's what a lead, I just put a poll up in the, I don't know how to do it, but I just put a poll up in the YouTube live. What is a lead? only leads are an unknown. They're an investment. They're an expense. They're a business card. That's all you know about a lead, is that you know a little bit of company information, a little bit of personal information, maybe, because those are the two required fields on a lead record at Salesforce: the company name and the last name. You don't have to have contact information, right? So they're always unknown. And the only job that anybody in your organization has with a lead is to make it known whether they are viable or not viable at this moment to start engaging with for sales. That's all you know. But how many people just don't understand what a freaking lead is causes so many problems in an org, and you've dealt with it more than anybody, Patrick, of the organizational ignorance that can occur with this unknown thing called a lead, right? Because a company doesn't understand what it is, how it works, or how they use Salesforce to do it. They waste time and money, not just on your expense, but rather the business processes themselves. People don't think of it as taking money out of their pocket if the process isn't elegant, right? It's like they think, oh, email's free. Emails are not free. No, I just send a bunch of emails and it's free. It's not free. The time it takes to craft that email costs you something. Oh, it did. Yeah, I probably did. Futz with the mic because it was messed up in my world. My dog hit the thing, and anyway, yeah, we could probably, maybe edit that out one day, but I doubt it. Yeah, that's the big problem. Yeah, we'll edit out live. That's the big problem, right? What if people like? So let me ask if you. One of the things I've been doing in my classes. So I got two things I've been doing new in my classes since you've taken my last class.
Well, let me address something about leads. It seems to fall on one side of the fence or another. Either a company, maybe three sides. That now you've completely ruined the video.
Just for a second.
The way that I've seen companies use leads incorrectly. Well, one is not necessarily incorrectly in that they don't use leads at all. They only use contacts and accounts, which is a potential option that gets messy when they start doing it in a hybrid model where they use both incorrectly. But it seems to tend toward either, oh, now Chen's on the video. This is being broadcast live. I think we can delete this one too. We'll just chop it after my speech about. We'll just chop it after my speech about lead. So it seems that companies either hold on to a lead too long without dispositioning it. They hold on to it forever. They always want it to be a lead forever. They never convert it. Or they convert it prematurely without actually working the lead or putting any sort of attaching any sort of life cycle to that lead, where they get a lead, they convert it basically immediately. They may do some minor due diligence on it and then convert it immediately into an account or a contact. But it seems to be that those polar extremes where it's either too soon or forever, and a lack of deciding the process and parameters on when a lead should be converted and why, and when an opportunity exists or doesn't,
or even what an opportunity is. Like that's a whole different conversation, right? Like what? Forget the only reason, really, as I've been studying for advanced admin a little bit, the only reason for opportunities is forecasting ultimately, right? You want to know what's coming when, because you want to do planning and whatnot. What I'm most scared about is like, how do companies really, you think companies really know how to plan for sales? I don't think they do. Because if they did, especially companies that use Salesforce and they use it like you're talking about, they use it incorrectly. There's no way they can plan for sales because they don't understand the purpose of the data that they're using to manage sales. They're tracking what they think is activity, and it's all bull crap. And then the activities they're tracking have no relationship to what's happening in real life in terms of what's really moving the needle. If they are tracking activity, I guarantee you they're only counting the activity, not making sure that the activity actually counts. Right? When my buddy went from, in his own sales mindset, from saying I was committed to make 10 contacts a day, and I would call somebody I'd called every day for the last 6 weeks because I know they never answer their phone, and count that as one of my contacts, it didn't surprise me that I wasn't getting the results I wanted from sales. So when I started making the 10 calls count instead of counting the 10 calls, everything changed, right? That's a mindset difference, but it's no different. Like, and every salesperson has to get to that place on their own, right? They've got to get to the point where they're not counting the number of door knocks. They're making sure that the door knocks count. They start to be strategic about who they knock on their doors, how they knock on the door, because it's a very different than, right? Cops do it one way, friends do it another. And it's all like, if you're really just going through the motion of CRM, which I think that's probably what's happening, right? CRM is at the evolutionary stage where, besides the super tech ding dongs that are making all these fancy things happen, for the average CRM user, it's a Rolodex at best. It's a Rolodex at best, right? At best it's a Rolodex, and at worst, it's a burden that companies put on their people. And if they do it correctly, they use Salesforce, because you can always Salesforce people to do whatever you want. But they do all of that because they don't know what else to do with it. And I think that's at the leadership level. And at the lower levels, they just learn to either hate it, love it, or become dependent on really bad habits, right? The whole bad habit thing in sales is riddled. As an industry, even sales managers don't really know what to tell their people, especially in today's changing sales environment. Everybody talks about how customers are buying differently. You got to engage in the process. Like, no, it's pretty much just as screwed up as it's always been, except now we just have more data that show you all the places you couldn't have screwed up, but you can't see it anyway. Like, you don't get what you have in front of you. I'll say it's like this. Everybody makes fun of the weatherman. Why do they make fun of the weatherman?
Well, now the salespeople just have another target to blame their failure at.
Well, but everybody blames the weatherman for being what? Wrong. They said it was going to rain at 3:00. Yeah, but they said that yesterday at 3:00. A lot of shit has changed since they make the most accurate prediction they can. By the way, weather and traffic are the two big, they're so popular with advertisers, which means it's popular with people, that broadcast, like radio stations have separate people to just sell advertising for traffic and weather. The two dumbest streams of information you could ever ask for are traffic and weather, right? Yet that's the most in demand. What people want is the dumbest data ever. And I think that's what CRM is. It's traffic and weather. You know, traffic's going to be bad in the morning, better in the afternoon, and horrible at the end of the day, of workday. Why? Because everybody's traveling. you know the weather is going to be basically hot in the summer, hot or cold in the fall, cold in the winter, and hot or cold, right? It's somewhere between in the spring. Everywhere you go, it's always the same. And whether it's raining or not should be irrelevant in your world as a person going outside. What should be relevant in your world going outside? Whether or not I have access to an umbrella or a coat that I could cover up in case it rains, because you never know when it's going to rain, right? So I think people think leads, opportunities, all that are like somehow they're looking for the wrong data everywhere they go. They're not understanding why they're using the data, what they're trying to get the data to do, and how to get people to make better decisions about the current state of the data so that they can, be like a weatherman, be wrong tomorrow. But as of today, I made the best decision I could make today. Right. And I made a bad decision the other night playing poker, and against all poker rules, I called an all in. You never call an all in unless you know you have the best possible hand. Never call an all in unless you know you have the best possible hand. I called an all in with the second best hand, and I knew the other hand was out there, but I didn't want to believe it. I wanted to get the money. Instead, I gave all my money. Right? That's how you get out. So I think it's the same thing with leads. They don't understand that there's a life cycle. There's a reason and a season for the leads, and you either use it or don't. But no matter what, you still have to have that same understanding of sales process. And I think that's the big thing that's missing. I don't know what else is going to say about it, but that was it. Oh, look, we're over time.
My motto is either use them correctly or don't use them at all. But I don't care if you use leads at all, but if you use them, I'm going to demand that you use them properly.
But here's the problem.
Don't use them at all.
But here's the problem. Let's say they don't use leads, but they still use the same incorrect sales process with contacts and accounts. It still could be.
Well, then you're hopeless.
Well, I understand, but if you can't use leads,
I demand that they use the objects regardless of what they are correctly. If you don't want to use leads, that's fine, but you use them correctly. You need to use the other objects correctly as well. That is not an excuse to not use leads and use accounts and contacts and opportunities incorrectly.
That's right. Well, what I'm saying is, what the danger zone is, or the opportunity, if you want to be progressive, I guess. If you don't use leads, that's fine. Use your contacts and your accounts just like but you have to apply the same correct lead usage policy to your accounts and contacts, whether you use leads or not. If you don't use leads, that's fine. You still have to treat the unknown contact as a lead, or the unknown account as a lead.
You stepped in it there. See, you can't say that. Now you're done. You're doing what everybody else did.
Well, no,
they use leads when they say lead when they just mean whatever.
That's not what I'm saying.
I gotta get going. So
if you don't know how to use leads, then you need to learn how to use leads, regardless of whether you use leads or not. You got to know how to use leads in order to make it work. All right, good. Hey, man, let's do more of this and throw out a shitty podcast. And it'll just be two grumpy old men, two grumpy old admins. Because we're both old. The new people think we're old, right? They don't understand we're wise. So
yeah, that'll give me a gold.
You'll get a gold hoodie this way. We'll do this. I'm gonna edit it up. Give it to Yusuf. Make it edit up for that. All right, man. Have a great weekend. Have a great happy 4th of July, whatever they celebrate in Mexico, or wherever you're at, wherever your flavor is. Or Canada. Where are you? I don't even know. You're Texas. That's right. So that's Mexico to me. Have a happy 4th this weekend. I'll be back online Tuesday. I'm taking off later today, just so you know.
Very good.